Hey, welcome back. So now we're going to install SQL Server Management Studio, which again is that tool that we'll use to connect to the database and interact with it, play around with it. And the cool thing about that is, once this is installed, we're actually going to be able to start writing code, which I think is the reason we're all here, or at least I hope so. Let's go ahead and click Install SSMS. And you'll be taken to a Microsoft website that will have another link we'll need to click to download SSMS. So if we click this link, we should see an executable file appear in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. And that's going to take a few minutes to download, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit here. So now the executable file is finally finished downloading. And if I can stop clicking the wrong button, I actually need to go ahead and click Open File, and that should kick off the installation wizard. Now at this point, you may see a dialog box pop up asking you if you want to allow this application to make changes on your computer. If so, just click Yes, and we should be able to proceed with installation. Now at this point, we just need to wait for the first screen of the installation wizard to appear. Once it does, we'll click Install, and then we'll need to wait a few minutes for the installation process to complete, so I'll fast forward here for your viewing pleasure. So it looks like our installation completed successfully. So first we'll click Close to exit the installation wizard, and then we'll click the Start button at the bottom left corner of the screen, and then look up under Recently Added at the top and click SQL Server Management Studio. Now it's possible that on your machine, SQL Server Management Studio won't appear under Recently Added Applications, but if not, that's no big deal. Just type the name of the application, SQL Server Management Studio, in the search bar at the bottom left, and it should appear. Now, this is a pretty big application, so the very first time you open it, it's possible it will take a couple minutes to open. So I'm actually going to fast forward a little bit here. Now that Management Studio has finally opened, we should see this Connect to Server dialog box appear. Now we're ultimately going to stick with all the defaults you see in this dialog box, but I want to offer a brief explanation of them before we move on. The server type is a database engine. That's what you're pretty much always going to choose there. The server name is just the computer name, so to speak, of the database that we just installed, the database server we just installed. And the authentication method is Windows authentication. What that really means is the database is authenticating you. It is verifying that you are you with the same credentials that you use to log into your computer, your login and your password. Alternatively, you can set up a login and a username and a password for this database that is different than the one you used on your Windows machine to log in. But for now, we'll just stick with Windows authentication. It works the same and it's a little simpler. So now we'll go ahead and click Connect to actually connect Management Studio to the database. And after a few seconds, we should see some stuff appear on the left-hand side of the screen. And that stuff is what's going to allow us to explore our data once we get a sample database installed. But obviously, first things first, we have to install that sample database, and that's what we'll do in the next video. I'll see you then.